Hello, my name is Michael Orman, and this is my midterm video for Literature of the Southwest, Fall 2021, Dr. Quintanilla's class. In this assignment, we are to prepare a lesson in Southwestern literature, which I've chosen to tailor my lesson to children using the format of Dora the Explorer. Well, here's my project. Hola, mi vatos. Me llamo Tío Miguel. I am Dora's tío. Y Dora can be here today because she is muy enferma. Kids, can you say enferma? Enferma means sick. So today, mi little vatos, I'm going to teach you about Southwestern literature. Southwestern literature is the literature of the Southwestern American states. The Southwestern American states include Texas, Texas, Nuevo Mexico, New Mexico, y Arizona, y California. It can also, if you want to get like really, really liberal with the definition of Southwest, it can also include like Utah and other bullshit, but we keep it real here. You dig, Holmes? So, to understand Southwestern literature, you have to understand la historia de los gentes. Kids, can you say historia de los gentes? You did great. Bueno means history of the people, the Latino people, the people who came up from Mexico, y descendants de España. España is Spain. In the beginning of Latin literature, everything was brought to us orally. Orally means by spoken word. Things weren't written down. So stories were passed down from generation to generation. And during this time, we had, through these folk tales and stuff, we learned about our Latino heritage, like curanderas. Can you say curanderas? Bueno. Curanderas were women who would go from village to village and they would grow herbs and they would help cure people of different enfermas or sicknesses. And in Southwestern literature and in Chicano literature, Chicano is another word for Hispanic, but the Chicano movement started around the 1960s when the Hispanic population was trying to find their own, carve out their own identity of being American born, but being of Hispanic descent, which descent means being born that way. And eventually, there are several eras of the writing of Southwestern literature y Chicano literature. And as we go through the eras, like for instance, in Mexico, la Guerra de Independencia, War of Independence, was in 1910. So we had an influx of people coming into the United States from Mexico from that time and afterwards. And then after World War II, more and more Latinos came into this country. And what I'm going to share with you is a story. We're going to talk about a story by Roy Benavides from Cuero, Texas, called The Three Wars of Roy Benavides. Roy Benavides is the protagonist in the story. Can you say protagonist? Bueno. A protagonist is like the hero or main character. Now let's discuss what is the antagonism in the story. Antagonist is the opposite of hero. Can you say antagonist? I have faith in you. You could do it. Try it. Come on, try it. Say antagonist. Muy bueno, little vatos. Muy bueno. Anyways, he's a, the antagonists range in the story, but we could say that the antagonism in the story is Roy Benavides versus the establishment or himself. In this story, Roy exhibits many forms of insubordination. Kids, can you say insubordination? Can you spell insubordination? Insubordination is when you go against the edicts or rules of the people in charge. Like when you mouth off to the maestra en la escuela or the teacher at school, you're being insubordinate, which is performing insubordination. Well, anyways, Roy is in the military and he is stationed in Alemania, which in English is Germany. And his commanding officer is drunk and making a fool of himself. And Roy ends up in a fight with him and punches him. The next day, Roy is called into the colonel's office. And Roy decides to be muy honesto, to be very verdad, to be truthful. Can you say all that stuff I just rattled off? Bueno. So he decides, he sees a message on the wall that says something along the lines of being truthful, honest, He decides to take that to in his corazón, in the heart. Can you say corazón? Bueno. And he's honest with his superior officer. And through his honesty and bravery, the officer sees that Roy is great at becoming, that he has a good career in front of him in el militario, or los armas, military or army. Now, kids, this is a good example of the more contemporary literature that took place after the 1960s. During this time, Chicano or Latin American literature of the Southwest, took on a more American-centric point of view. It's no longer bound to the original country most of these people came from, Mexico. They're writing about their identities as Americans and how they react and interact with American society as a whole as Mexican Americans. In which some other great authors who demonstrate from this time era that demonstrate how they interact with the greater world as Mexican Americans. One great example is Sandra Cisneros, The House on Mungo Street. The story I just told you about the 3 wars of Roy Benavides is featured in Hecho en Texas by Dagoberto Gilb. Hecho means made, and Texas means in Texas. He was made in Texas. So a lot of these stories are about los gentes y viver en Texas. People who live in Texas. Y, when I told you about the eras, I learned about in Infinite Divisions, an anthology of Chicana literature by Tatiana Roballero y Elena S. Rivero. They are the editors. Editors are people who compile a book together. Now, kids, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope that you avail yourself to Southwestern and Latin American literature, because it's always good to learn about your past. And next week, Dora and Boots will be back to teach you